Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And Green Goblin and Loki here have more in common than you might think. They're not just villains who are amazing in Marvel Future Fight, got massive reworks, and are also kind of fans of mischievous tactics. They're also amazing at ABX, and they love the color green, I guess. We're going to focus on the ABX today because I'm not going to do an MFF color video. So what I decided to do instead was test them out with a full stacked deck of insane 25% Pierce, roaring through, ripping it, what I worked so hard and spent so much money to obtain, versus the, I don't know why I made that sound, but the regular cards that I was using in a bunch of testing videos recently that amounts to half as much in the counting stats, half as much attack, half as much, etc., and 0% Pierce. Who do you think, I want to ask the question, stands to gain more? Who's going to gain more from this swap from regular cards or like average Joe cards to whale cards, Green Goblin or Loki? Leave your thoughts down below before the testing is complete. And now, without further ado, let's kick it. Rewinding the clock back to no Pierce, let's see how Loki does with this same team and hopefully the same gameplay if I can sort of get that rotation to rock. Absolutely love Loki, and he's one of the best, I would say the best ABX character we've ever gotten, just because he's so easy to play and he's so flexible. Really, the only criticism I have of his gameplay style is for Silence Season. You have a pretty annoying job with the tier 3 skill being used to cancel. But I really like the fact that you have to wait for mobs to be around, right? Like, it's such an interesting part of his kit that's so easy to miss if you're not paying attention. We got the delay there, but basically we just need this to, there we go. I was lucky to catch that. But so we've already hit 7 million. If you don't know about Loki, he summons 1 to 5 explosions when you use his 5th skill, based on the number of enemies around. So he'll summon 1 for each enemy. So if it's just you and the Frost Beast, he only summons 1 explosion, I believe, or maybe 2. But as you'll see here, he summons so many more explosions when you have just a few enemies around. So you actually want the mobs to be surrounding you like this. This is actually the perfect scenario for every rotation. And that's actually what you want. And that's why you don't want to let his rotation linger too much after the 4th skill. That's why we cancel 2 after he jumps up, and then we don't do anything after 1. I'm actually going to let this play out here. We might lose a little bit of score, but I like to play it a little bit cautiously. We're already at 9 million, which is very, very, very good. I think I got guard broken, and that's why I couldn't go into my rotation sooner. But this is actually a really good score for 0 Pierce. Like, this is crazy good. I don't know if it's Black Cat or what, or if it's just Loki being Loki, but the fact that you can take regular cards and do this is mind-blowing to me. It's like, it literally just goes to show you, man, a lot of this has just felt like a Loki showcase, a lot of these no Pierce videos, because he's so dominant without Pierce. He doesn't care at all. So see, in this situation, it's bad. We don't want to go into a rotation. We're going to have to here, but we're going to get a much, much lower score on this rotation than we would have otherwise. And actually now, see, we've sort of replicated our problem again, because now with only 1 enemy around, we're basically out of rhythm right now with his 5th skill. So we're going to have to wait here to get back into rhythm. So two rotations out of rhythm probably cost us a couple 100,000 score. So if you're really serious about your score, this is what it looks like. And so we end up with a score of about 10.5 million with Loki. This is a really, really, really good score for having 0 Pierce. And again, I'll keep the camera running just so we can prove it. I'm going to go over to my cards, and you can see that that's how much Pierce we had with no editing. Absolutely bonkers. And so his energy attack that he was working with there, his energy attack with Black Cat was 53,800 with 0% Pierce, of course. Now let's see how Green Goblin does. I'm not 100% sure if Black Cat is the way to go for leads for Green Goblin. I know he can be his own leadership and you can use another support, but I really like Black Cat, especially since she has the artifact. Like my Black Cat has the artifact, and we're already over 1 million. So I'm digging this. I'm digging this damage, and we'll see how he ends up doing, but 500,000 per rotation is very, very, very good. Other thing I wanted to talk about is that I noticed a lot of rotations with Green Goblin use his third skill at the end after 5, 4, and 1. I'm not a big fan of that because the mobs actually end up getting feared, and then when they're feared, they don't move near you, like they don't come closer to you, they actually move away from you. So I'm not a huge fan of that. We're going to delay here. We can actually start our rotation a little bit early because we have paralysis on the 4th skill that applies throughout. So we can get that going a little early. I may have lost a little bit of damage, but I want to go into my next rotation so badly. With Green Goblin, like he just does so much damage for every rotation. You don't have to worry about a tier 3 skill, that you just want to get into that next rotation as fast as you can to just keep pumping out this insane damage. And yeah, and it works, man. We're already at 5 million. Not quite as good as Loki, of course, with the CTP of Rage. But also keep in mind that I think a Rage would be better. I'm not sure if a Rage would be better than a Judgment here. But a Judgment is providing a lot of value here, so I'm really, really happy. And of course, Judgment is still very good for other content. So it's not at all a loss if you have a Judgment on him. So we're able to squeeze in one more rotation. Really nice stuff. And this actually lines up perfectly with when he's going to jump into the middle. And again, we're going to start our rotation a little bit early because we can. With some characters and some cancels, you can't do that. Like, you cannot use the skill before he sort of has those 2 yellow buffs when the text shows up telling you to cancel. But thankfully with Green Goblin, the paralysis is applied on every single hit from the beginning to the end of the skill. And that's sort of something you just need to practice and test out yourself. Or have someone test it for you, of course. There's tons of really good ABX players who test this stuff. That was the first sort of botched rotation. You can get guard broken with Green Goblin when he's doing the first skill, which is kind of like an annoying weakness, I guess. It's one of the few flaws in Norman's otherwise stellar resume. But because you can get guard broken during the second skill, you'll basically lose that damage, you'll lose the explosive bombs, and you'll lose that AoE clearing speed. So what you can do is you can just fly around the Frost Beast. You can do a really quick 180 on him. He's got excellent turning, excellent handles here. But man, 8.75 million it looks like we're gonna hit, roughly. No, maybe a little bit less. Okay, 8.7 million is not bad at all. Really good, again, for a character who is rocking 0 pierce and just the 50% attack on cards. So his stats are pretty low for a tier 2, again, considering my average cards here. 37,000 energy attack, and when we slot him in on the team, he jumps up to 46,800. Now that goes a lot higher when you press the Blade Drone Bombardment, because it goes up by 100%. But as we'll see, the Pierce versions go even higher. So I've gone and done it. We've unequipped our cards, and now it's time to equip the Pierce cards once again and really see how much this is adding. Of course, we're going to go back in a whole bunch of different ways, but the first thing we actually get to do is we get to re-equip these cards in the right order. So this, again, doesn't seem like a very big deal, but in terms of just being a quirky weirdo, I'm up there. And so we can actually equip these cards side by side in a way that matches the key art, because it sort of flows from one to the other, especially with the lights in the background. I know it's very silly, but I enjoy it, and so I will do it. And then we're going to equip this card right here. And then finally, we have our gorgeous Guardians of the Galaxy, and thus returns the might of 25% Pierce, 104% all attack, 80% max HP, and all of those amazing stats that I had lost for the past couple of days, but honestly felt like, and it felt like to you, weeks, because the content got so much harder. And I won't even get you started on the content that we didn't discuss, like Shadowland. That was not fun. But anywho, let's hit it. So Green Goblin got 8.6 million with no Pierce. That's what you're telling me? Okay. Let's see how much of that was due to the cards, or is due to the cards, and how much of it is just due to him being an absolute savage. So we're already... Okay, we're doing like an extra 200k per rotation, it seems like. 700,000. Very, very good stuff here. We have a little bit of an issue proccing our insight, which is always fun. But as long as we see those amazing pumpkin bomb explosions, man, he has some of the coolest animations in the game. I want those robots to come closer. Come closer. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. You do want to like let that second skill play out just a little bit so you can get even more time for them to get in close. And then we know we can pretty aggressively push that fourth skill. But not bad, just over 450,000 for the first minute. This is pretty good. I don't see a huge difference thus far, but I think we're only going to see that difference towards the end, because, you know, climbing up to 8.6 million still seems like a ways away. We're not even at 6 million right now. Maybe we can be a little bit more aggressive with our rotations. But yeah, the judgment... I sort of broke the game's code. The game's like, what's going on? You had 0% pierce, now you have infinity pierce. What is this voodoo magic? Listen, you guys gave me the whoa, I went like through the wall on that one. This is not gonna be a good... Yeah, this was sort of like bad timing here. Hopefully we're gonna be able to... Okay, we were able to cancel in time there. I'm not 100% sure if that was really the way to play it, but we got it. I think we may have missed out on the damage from our fifth skill. I don't know if it was worth trying to squeeze in an extra rotation before the jump. But hey, now we're at 8 million. So now we can see a little bit more clearly how much that Pierce is adding. Because I think Pierce mostly helps you after 7 million. So if you're able to get to 7 million on your own, I think you're already in a really good position, you know. And you're already got all the rewards anyways. So we're going to wait here. But here we go. We're basically on par. Just a little bit off. And we've officially crossed the line. So the next 30 seconds of score are all just gravy points on top. And this is basically exactly what that Pierce and that 50% all attack is giving you. And one thing I will say for Norman specifically is the all attack that he gained is probably not helping him as much as it does for other characters, because unlike other characters, Green Goblin has 100% increased damage. I really cannot stress how good that is. It's insane. So we end up at 9.4 million. So I almost added 1 million points to his score. That does seem really good, but then you consider that my Loki scored 10.5 million without Pierce. And I know, I'm almost 100% sure that when I go back to Loki now, he's going to score 12 million easily, which means that for a higher score, right? Because Loki's starting at 10.5 million, has to push to 12 million versus Green Goblin, who was at 8.6 and just pushed to 9.4. What that means is maybe I could have gotten 9.6, okay, with a bit of a better, more cleaned up gameplay. So let's just say it's 1 million points. But what that means is that Loki is getting more out of the transition, right? That the swap from low cards to full Pierce stacked cards is buffing Loki more than it's buffing Green Goblin. And I honestly think that has a lot to do with the 50% increase in all attack, where Loki needs that buff. Green Goblin doesn't, because he makes up for it with his own crazy 5th skill buff. Or it could mean that the Pierce is just not affecting Green Goblin as much because he's a tier 2. I haven't made any cuts yet, but hopefully this one won't take more than one try. If I can't hit 12 million with Loki on Paralysis Season with 25% Pierce and 104% all attack, then who am I? I don't know. First rotation's always bad because there's no mobs around. As long as we don't accidentally play out the tier 3 skill, that would be the only real big mistake. But I'll leave any of those bloopers in case we goof up really bad. I mean, if it's a really bad goof up, or if like, well, that was kind of bad. Okay, we pressed the third a little bit too fast. We're gonna calm down here. You got to cancel the 3 into the 5 super fast. And so if you're a little bit early and your fingers are a little bit too fast, you sort of get a situation where we did squeeze out one more rotation. Nice. So we delayed his movement, which is excellent. That allowed us to already be over 7 million, and then we get the easy roar cancel here, and we're already rocking at 8 million after the 1 million mark, after the 1 minute mark, excuse me. So yeah, that's the crazy difference. Like, as good as Green Goblin is, we're about to surpass his score, and we have half of the time remaining. That's just how crazy Loki is. Maybe how crazy Green Goblin will be when he gets a tier 3. But I kind of love how it seems to be the case that MFF players rally around villains a lot more easily than they rally around heroes. Maybe it's just because heroes always get the spotlight. Heroes are always the best. So when you have a situation where a character like Loki or Green Goblin is just so insanely busted, so OP, it's actually refreshing. Okay, we delayed his roar, but again, I'm going to play it safe here. I don't want any errors, and we're already at 10 million, so I can't really, you know, there's no way I'm not gonna cap. But with the next rotation, we will actually, if Black Cat doesn't destroy all of the mobs, we'll actually hit 10.5. So there we go. We already surpassed our Loki score without Pierce, and we still have a minute left. So all of this is being added by Pierce and the 50% all attack, which I definitely think is affecting, like, benefits Loki more than someone who can buff his own attack in an insane way, like Green Goblin. So I would say Green Goblin and maybe to a lesser extent Human Torch may be two characters who benefit more from not having, or not that they benefit more from not having Pierce, but they can still do very well for you without Pierce. Whereas other characters that really need all of those extra stats in addition to the Pierce don't. So yeah, with 18 seconds left, we've already hit the cap. We can keep going here so you guys, if my Rage proc will ever activate, so you guys can see just how much it adds, but it's a lot closer to 2 million. Yeah, wow. Wow. 2.3 million. Wow. So that's how much the Pierce added. 2.3 million. I know it rounds it back down, but we were at 2.8. We were at 12.8. We were almost at 13 million from 10.5. That's crazy. So that's why you need Pierce, and that's why you need those crafted stats if you really want to be in a very competitive ABX alliance. But honestly, there may be some alliances out there that are very close to top 16 that you could get away with having a free-to-play card set. And then having a free-to-play card set, like having just 5 regular cards that are uncrafted, you're not going to be that way forever unless you're intentionally handicapping your account. So it'll just be a matter of time before you get up there. Now, whether or not you should play ABX competitively at all, I'm not touching that conversation because the ABX veterans and the ABX diehards, they love that game mode, and I'm not trying to trash the game mode. I think it's an awesome game mode. I just think, like we've said time and time again, the rewards are not there. But some of those rewards are just rewards you get. And I genuinely enjoy testing. I genuinely enjoy seeing big numbers and then making those big numbers even bigger. And that's what ABX gives you. So I thought it was a really interesting comparison between Loki and Green Goblin. And yeah, were you as surprised as I was that Loki gained more from the Pierce than Green Goblin did in the attack? Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.